everybody. So I'm continuing on the series I started last month where I talk about the movies I saw in the theater and the movies I saw at home. They're not all necessarily new movies, but they're all new to me with one exception. So this first video is going to be the movies I saw in the theater, and then the next video will be movies I saw at home. So I hope that if they're ones that I've talked about a lot, then I probably will just briefly mention them. But some of the others I will go a little more in detail on, and I go into great detail on the reviews of all of these movies on my blog. So you definitely, I'll put a link down, you definitely want to check out the blog to get more detailed information about why I like or I'm not that crazy about the movie. So there you go. Let's get started with the movies I've seen in the theater. And I saw a crazy amount of movies in the theater in February. I had a goal. I wanted to see all the Oscar movies before Oscars. And I went to a lot of movies. And also, I have a new, I finally decided to sign up for the Movie Pass, which is $30 a month. And you can see a movie every day in the theater. It doesn't cover 3D, but I don't really care that much about 3D. And I just finally decided it was worth it because I was going to so many movies. So I'll put a link down to the Movies Pass, because if you're a person like me that likes to see a lot of movies, it's definitely worth it because, you know, you can easily spend, if you're going to see more than 3 movies a month, it's definitely worth it. So let's talk about the movies I saw in the theater. The first one that I want to talk about is Interstellar. Finally got to see it. It was at the Dollar Theater, and I'd heard, everybody saying, oh, it was boring, it was a big disappointment or whatever. So I was actually going in with really low expectations, and I kind of loved it. I thought it was great. I was really emotionally bonded to the family. There's not that many movies, I feel like, where the father is such a wonderful character, and there's such a great relationship between a father and a daughter. And I really thought the relationship between Murphy and Cooper was really sweet, and it really carried me through the whole movie. I thought that it was like a really good sci-fi movie. It has everything that you want in sci-fi, and I felt like some people were, science wasn't legit or whatever, and I don't think that matters at all. It can be complete hokum. The thing that makes a great sci-fi movie for me is it has to be allegorical, it has to be talking about something bigger than the story, it has to have an emotional connection with the characters, and it has to have a interesting setting where they're presented with a series of challenges. And all of that was there in Interstellar. All of that. I had a family I really cared about. I had a lot of interesting settings. And it was kind of like, I like movies where they go from one challenge to the next challenge to the next challenge. And there's not necessarily a sense of here's clue 1 and here's clue 2. It's just a sense of like, okay, here's the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. I don't know if that makes sense, but there's just not like a really strong narrative, but just a series of these are people that I like going through things that are difficult. And to me, that adds an unpredictability that a lot of times in the movies that are really narrative based, be like, okay, now the villain's gonna pop out, now we're gonna get this, now we're gonna get this. Whereas I really felt like this surprised me, and I thought the ending was really great. I thought it was a great sci-fi ending to the movie. I thought it really worked for the characters. I thought it was really allegorical. I thought it was a beautiful new setting. Again, all those 3 things that I want in a sci-fi, it had it, and I really thought it was great. The only thing I didn't like in Interstellar was I thought the music was too overbearing. It was too loud. It was too on the nose. Sometimes you couldn't even hear what was going around because it was just too loud. I don't know if that was just my theater, but I wasn't crazy about the music. But other than that, I thought it was great. So next movie I'm going to talk about is The Theory of Everything. And The Theory of Everything is a really good movie. It's got great performances with Eddie Redmayne winning the Oscar for Best Actor, and he's great. He's really good as Stephen Hawking. If you forget that it isn't actually Stephen Hawking, he's so good at creating those mannerisms and creating the emotion just in his eyes sometimes, because there's a lot of the movie where he can't talk. And I thought that it looks nice. It sort of annoyed me a little bit with all the sepia tone and all the twirling. Like even his coffee is twirling. Like it felt very like, I don't know. It just got on my nerves a little bit. And I felt like the script wasn't great. I felt like it was sort of maudlin and something I'd seen so many times before in other biopics. I didn't think Felicity Jones was that good. I really didn't. I thought she was kind of blank and just, I didn't feel like I got to know her character. Like at the beginning of the movie, she says, "Oh, I'm in love with him," but I was like, really? Why? I haven't seen any, you guys went on one nice date. I didn't really see what it was that made her fall in love with him. I didn't get into her heart as much as I would have liked. So I think it's a good movie. I definitely would recommend it. Go see it. You'll enjoy it. It's a great, interesting lesson to learn. It's beautifully filmed. It's just not my favorite. I didn't think it wouldn't have been in my top 8 for best pictures of the year. That's for sure. Then the next movie I want to talk about is the SpongeBob Sponge Out of Water movie, and this was so much fun. It's totally crazy, and I am not actually a huge fan of the show. I like it, but I kind of just missed the boat on it a little bit because it came out in 1999, which was my first year of college, and I didn't have so I was too old to like it as a kid. And as far as the teens and stuff that really got into it, which many of my cousins did, I didn't have a TV around that time, and I just kind of missed it. But I've watched it since, and I think it's pretty brilliant. I really enjoy it. And I liked how unpredictable the movie was. It was just kind of spastic and crazy, and you never knew what you were going to get. I really liked that. That's fun to me. And it's not perfect, but I thought it was refreshing. I liked that, and it made me laugh a lot. I thought it was funny, and I loved the 2D animation. I mean, the only bone to pick I have with the movie is it's like in the trailer they were embarrassed about it being 2D animation. I mean, you would think by the trailer you would think the whole movie is the out of water 3D or 2D animation, computer graphics. It's really not. It's about 15 minutes of the movie, and the rest is all traditional hand-drawn animation, just like the show. And so I thought that was strange. I don't know why they did that. I don't know why they didn't, but I hope that they can see that like kids still like the hand-drawn animation. It doesn't have to be in the 3D. You really didn't need that whole section. You could have taken it out, but it was fine. It was funny. They did look pretty cute, I thought, in the CG section, but I don't know, I just thought that was weird, the way the trailer completely sold a different movie than you actually got. But it's not for everyone. It's totally weird, but every once in a while, when you've seen as many movies as I have, when something's so strange and unpredictable, you kind of dig it. The next movie I won't really talk much about because I have a whole review on the channel, but I saw Song of the Sea, which I thought was a masterpiece, one of my favorite animated films I've seen in a long time. I really related to it. It made me cry. I thought it was a really beautifully animated movie. I thought it had a wonderful story. It had such great heart, and it was a really interesting study of loss and grieving, and I just loved it. So, okay, then the next movie I saw in the theater is The Imitation Game. And this was a good movie. It's kind of very similar to The Theory of Everything. I think they're both like solid biopics. I didn't think they were like great, but like I liked them. It was good. It's definitely well shot. I think this one is better than Theory of Everything. Benedict Cumberbatch is great, as Alan Turing. I thought he does a really good performance. I thought Keira Knightley was okay. She's fine as Joan. And I thought the more interesting part of the movie was about the code breaking and the Enigma machine and how they did it, and I thought that was really, really interesting. I thought the biopic stuff was less interesting, but I did think it was good. I thought it was a really interesting part of history that I didn't know a whole lot about, and I would definitely recommend it. And I think it would be a great like Sunday movie where you could watch about what people were able to accomplish. The next movie I saw is American Sniper. This was the last of my Academy Award nominated films to see, and I really liked it. Like is a weird word because it's super intense. It's not really a pleasant movie to see. It's brutal. Like, I know there's a lot of controversy, but it's just far as what I'm looking at is just far as the movie. So that's what was important to me, and I felt like a lot of the criticisms have been a little bit harsh because Chris Kyle is not responsible for whether the war in Iraq is good or bad. He just did the job that he was asked to do. And he did it very well, very well. And I thought that he was a pretty complex, interesting character. Like, he didn't want to be a hero. Like, he wasn't out there, like, that made him uncomfortable even. But he wanted to be over there. He had 4 tours, and he wanted to be there because he knew that he could save lives. And it was really interesting. I felt like how they were able to bring the home life into the battle, even though I'm sure that was completely unrealistic, but I thought it worked narratively because you had him talking to his wife in the battle, and then you had him reliving some of the scenes at home. So I felt like it made it flow really good. And I liked that what bothered him is not the 160 kills that he had. What bothered him is the Marines and the men that he couldn't save. And that was what was killing him about being home, is that he felt bad that he wasn't there saving. So when he was in combat, he felt bad for not saving more lives, and when he was home, he felt bad for not saving more lives. And I thought that was really interesting. Bradley Cooper is great. He's very complex and nuanced, and but very likable at the same time. The rest of the cast is fine, but he's the real standout. And I thought it was really interesting the way that it shows such a different kind of war than I'd ever seen in a movie before, where it's, as opposed to even like a World War II movie where you've got this platoon or whatever it's called of soldiers, and in mass they're all going up onto the beach, or in a Civil War movie you've got this row of a battalion and fighting another row of battalion, whereas like in this conflict it's literally going house to house to house to house. It's really different, and it feels very like individual, and I thought Clint Eastwood did a really good job of making you feel like you were down there. For a movie that's about a sniper, like I felt like he did a really good job making you feel like you were down there with the soldiers a lot of the time. And that was really good, I thought. And so it's brutal, it's really hard to watch, it's really intense. It's probably one I'll never want to watch again, but I'm really glad I watched it once. It does have a lot of profanity, so be aware. Okay, then the last movie that I saw in February is a huge winner. I'm really excited about it. I want everyone to go see it. I loved it. Is McFarland USA. And this is a movie about a cross-country team that was created by Kevin Costner's character. I can't think of the first name, but he plays this football coach who is Coach White. And at the beginning of the movie, it's not a spoiler, at the beginning of the movie, he is fired for losing his temper and striking a kid. And so he gets the only job left for him, and it's in this town in California in a really, really rough, poor neighborhood that's heavily populated by Latinos that are pickers of the fields. And he gets this idea, he sees the kids running, and he decides, let's have a cross-country team. And it's a movie that could have been such a cliche. It could have been, and like cross country is like the most boring sport I can even think of. but I'm telling you, it's a really good movie because it's actually like the sports stuff is just sort of window dressing for the real heart of the movie. The real heart of the movie is these boys. And it's also Kevin Costner and his family, like starting out the movie kind of scared to live in this neighborhood, live in this place, and how they come to realize all the good people that are there. And it could have been, again, really cliched, but I felt like the families were so authentic. They felt really real to me. I really thought that each boy, it wasn't like in Mighty Ducks or something like that, where you've got sort of the archetypes of the fat kid and the goofy kid and the smart aleck. You didn't have that. You had real people that you got to know and with real personalities. I thought that was great. And I really just felt like it told a story you hardly ever get of sort of impoverished America that's actually functional and stable. I learned on my mission for my church that every single street in America has at least one family, maybe more, that are trying so hard and that are great people. And I think that we sometimes get this impression that like you cross these track lines and immediately, you know, like it's nothing but gangs or whatever. And it's just not true. And they have such horrible odds. They have so many challenges. It's so hard for them to get out of it. But there really are such great people in every neighborhood in America. And I feel like that's a message you don't get that often. And I thought this showed it very, very, very well. And I loved it. I was so excited after I saw it. I just wanted to tell everybody I know it's like not offensive at all. It's something you could take all of your kids. There's one tense scene, but that's it. And I really, really, really liked it. I can't say enough how much I liked it. So go, take your family, go and see it. I think you'll really enjoy it. So that is the movies I saw in the theater. Let me know what you think of all these movies. And I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section. And I will put links down. I'll put a link down to my blog. And you can go check out the longer reviews if you'd like. So thanks. Please subscribe to my channel and I'll talk to you later. Bye.